I mean, that was a big game for our country and for me as well. None of us had expected us to go out there and get a result. But it was no surprise to me because we had worked really hard. We had a very good batch, very good bunch of players in peak physical form, and we were ready to, like I said, when you're wearing the national team colors, you're ready to give your heart on the pitch, and sometimes you need some luck as well. So we had everything going on our side in that game. We had people in the stadium who supported us. The stadium was full of people from India, and they were there loud and proud, which helped us a lot as well. The preparations for the game were good as well. We played a game against Oman just days before that Qatar game, and we played really well for 70 odd minutes, and then we couldn't hold our lead, 1-0 lead against them, and we lost on very small margins. So we wanted to make it up to that loss, make it up to our fans because we were playing good football, and make sure that we have something to rejoice and build up on. So yeah, that was a special game, and for me personally, I just took one action at a time. Football is a fast game. You don't have time to think, especially when you're playing bigger teams. When you're on the back foot, there is no time to dwell on actions which are going to happen or have happened. So it's very, very important to stay in the moment. That's what I was trying to do. I'm sure other players were doing as well. So yeah, that was one of those special days, and it'll always stay with all of us, I guess. Uh, I would say the stakes are very much higher when you play for India. When you're doing anything for the nation, the feeling that I got and I still get is so much more different than playing for a club. And there is nothing that comes close to playing for the nation and getting to put on the jersey to walk out there with the Indian flag in front of you. So there's nothing that comes close to that. But in terms of uh, achieving UEFA level competition participation, that is a thing in its own. People watch these kind of competitions. People make try to work for these events and want to be a part of it. I never thought that I would be when I started, and I was very, very lucky that I was in the right place at the right time, and I just had to work hard and show the coach that I was an option, that he could play, and I got to experience that, which is very, very fortunate because not many from our country have experienced it. So for me, that was the epitome of, I would say, club football. And off the pitch, I would say, when it comes to national team, it's like you are trying to be an example when you're wearing the colors, even walking in the hotel, or being with the team, going to the team buses, going to the airports, traveling and stuff like that. There's a pride in itself, that it's the Indian team walking around, and we are there as prime athletes, and try to lead by example per se. And with club football, it's a little bit more chill. You don't think about things like that. All you try to do is act as good professionals, and uh, not only be good examples, but lead a good life as well. I feel like if you're in a leadership position, that's what I've learned in football or in sports, is that you lead by example. That's the best way to go about it. As leaders, some leaders are vocal, and some leaders are the ones who work. Sometimes for me, I might not talk too much outside the pitch to players and stuff like that, but I am more vocal on the pitch. So, like, when it comes to um, doing the work and showing up on time, small things, eating clean, being a good example, sleeping on time, waking up on time, showing up to team meals, team meetings, and stuff like that on time. And when you're talking with someone, try to help them, listen to them. So small things like that, which I learned from my seniors, is something that I try to implement as well. Because you know how babies are, like small babies, they watch and learn from their parents. I think human nature is like that. If there is someone who is in a position that you want to be in one day, you watch and learn. And if, like for example, I'm in that position, I will make sure that whoever is watching me, they watch something good, which they, you know, can take part in and have in their own routine in their own life. And it's all about being an example, helping each other out. Because as as uh, as a human race, as people, it's all about that. We are, I feel like we are on this earth for a very short time, and it's about making the most of it, helping each other out, and you know being very action oriented, and guiding everyone. If you know something, share it. That's how it is. Yeah, man. I mean, climate was a big thing, and honestly, it wasn't like a setback. Football is very, very different in Europe because of the weather conditions and because of how well the infrastructure is. So for a person like me who's maybe not going for the best infrastructure and the best weather in the world for sports, you're going into a country where it's colder, you can push more, you don't get tired faster and stuff like that. So for me, it was an advantage. I felt like that I uh, gained more fitness, and I became more quicker in terms of my reactions and stuff like that. I worked out more hours, more minutes outside on the pitch or in the gym. So that was something that I learned that the weather helped me with. So I felt like it wasn't a disadvantage. It's just using it for your own advantage.
Um, you're always known for taking responsibility. I think it's kind of part of the role as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Specifically after the match against Australia, how do you like? What is the way you handle public mistakes and bounce back? Because from my experience, mistakes they tend to get blamed a lot on the keeper, especially at a junior level. And so, what is the way you deal with it?
I feel like even if it's on the senior level, you'll still get blamed, or maybe even at the older level once you're retired. Still, it's a job which is very thankless. It's that's what the job is, and this is what we signed up for. So there's no crying about it and trying to play a victim card or something like that. But I think when I feel like you have done something that that you could have done better, it's very important to just take responsibility and be out there, especially when you're in a setting where you're an athlete or someone who performs publicly. Like many people who work in the offices and stuff like that, their work is only in the office. Only the people in the office know about the work ethic and stuff like that. For people like the athletes or musicians or artists or people who work in the entertainment business and stuff like that, for them it's all about public appearance, public scrutiny. And when you're representing a nation and representing people, that's when responsibility comes on you as well. So if there is a mistake that has happened, I feel like it's important to raise your hand and say that, hey, I made a mistake, and I acknowledge it. But I'm not someone who will sit and not fix it. I'll make sure that I go out again on the pitch and give my 100%. And that's how it is. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it backfires at you, because a lot of people that have their own opinions will always say something good or something bad about it. But as someone who is in that role, it's just important to do it for your own sanity And that's why, like for example, in that moment against Australia after the game, I felt like that I could have done something else and something better in that situation. And it's important to just acknowledge my mistake and tell people that how I feel. Maybe I could have not said something and just stay quiet, but I felt like saying something because if you're running social media and you are public out there, what's the point of being there if you're not honest and tell how you feel? Uh, I would say, per se, I can't remember a instance where I felt like I can't do this anymore. In terms of like, I need to stop playing football at all. Like that is something that has never crossed my mind. The only things that have crossed my mind is like, why am I doing bad, and how can I fix it? Like if it's something that I'm not able to do, how can I change it? And if that means I need to spend more hours in the gym, do I need to spend more hours doing a specific drill, or do I need to, for example, maybe spend hours reading a book, something like that? Like whatever is going to take me out of that situation is something which I always focused on throughout my career. And I felt like giving up is never an option. Like it's off the table. If I'm doing something, if I'm building a house, I don't think I'll stop in the middle of it, just because I felt like giving up. So once I've started something, I feel like it's important to find solutions if you are stuck. And sometimes solutions comes like this. Sometimes it takes time. So it's very important to be patient and have, I feel like, good people around you who can guide you, tell you that it's okay. Just keep your calm, keep looking forward. Because if you give up, you'll never come back to the same thing in the same way. You'll always have that regret, and I can't live with regrets.
Yes, that's focused on shot stopping.
To be honest, yeah, like right now, it's only been 3 days, 4 days since we have started together as a team. So we are still trying to figure out like what we, actually need to do, because I'm sure the coach is also trying to figure out like, what the plan is, what plays he has, and according to which he can make a plan. Um, the advantage that I feel like having a coach who is Indian right now is also a big thing where a language is not a barrier anymore. Having someone who can speak the same language has made things a little bit more easier to understand, even if it's any information, regarding tactics, regarding, how to function around as a team, or whatever the thing might be, that has become different. And I'm sure like what, for example, an Indian person or Indian coach would feel is going to be maybe different to how a foreign coach feels for the job, for the country, and stuff like that. And I'm very optimistic and very, very positive about what our coach right now can do. And I'm really looking forward for the games that are going to come up, even though we've had very, very short time to prepare, and have not played any football in the last 3-4 months due to the situation which is going on right now with the leagues. I'm very optimistic to see how will pan out against good teams like Iran and Tajikistan and even Afghanistan when we go to the Kafa Nations Cup in 10 days. So that is going to be a very hard challenge, but I feel like our coach has a plan, and all we need to do is listen to him and give it justice. Well, I mean, firstly with Sunil Bhai, I don't think age is a matter. He's that good. It doesn't matter if he's 40, 50, or 60. If he can, if he wants to come back and play, I'm sure he'll still be one of the best players. There's no replacement for Sunil Chhetri, and I know it. Everyone knows it because he's that good. He's one of those once in a generation kind of players that comes and stays there. He's like how you say Indian Michael Jordan of football, or LeBron James, that kind of player. So it's if LeBron James is 39, 40 still playing, it doesn't matter. So I think that shouldn't be an issue. It's upon his motivation and his physical levels how well he can manage himself, and if he can, then I feel like it will be great for the nation to have him there firing on all cylinders and scoring and stuff like that. And regarding your question on how we have good players who come up in the youth levels and then we struggle, it's because I feel like there is not much like there's a huge gap between the under 17s and then the senior team. For example, when I went in the summer to Norway to train with my old team, and I can just tell you from small experience that over there, the kids that I was like the team that I was playing with, the players that I was playing with, they were 17, 18, 19, 20, and they had already played around 100 to 150 games in their careers. Be it academy games, under 17 games, under 19 games, under 20 games, and they already had a foundation of football knowledge, which players who are 25 years old over here don't have, and they struggle to have because we don't have that foundation. We don't have that many games. Like when you're studying, when you study and then you give a surprise test in school. Why do schools keep doing surprise tests on every Monday or something like that? Because they want the kids to have the practice of giving exams, for example. So it's about the same thing which happens with the players. If a 16-year-old kid is only training and not playing football, competitive football, I mean, then the kind of development that he'll make or she'll make is going to be very different to someone who is, for example, from Spain, because they are playing as kids around 50 to 60 games per year. So by the time they reach the reserves, they reach the senior teams or under 23s, they've already built their foundation. And for them, it's very easy to pick up on things and play quicker. So that is something which I feel like we are lacking, in our country. The teams right now under 17s, they'll go play a tournament and then they'll disappear for 6, 7 months. And then again, they'll play something and then again disappear for 6, 7 months. So, that halt in between things is not helping us. So we need to have football continuity. It's an ecosystem. It's a culture. It's something that cannot stop. You cannot play football for 3 months and then stop for 9 months. It shouldn't be like that. So it applies to under 17. It applies to 40-year-olds. It applies to 30-year-olds. Everyone. I hope that gives you the answer. Yeah, a little bit from my knowledge. Well, it's pretty sad, man, Gaurav, and the situation which is happening right now. And as players, we feel that it's a very tough thing to go through, especially because not only the league being suspended, but our livelihoods as well. The income source that we had is being suspended. We are not getting paid as well, and stuff like that is happening. So it's a very tough situation, not only for the players but also for staff members and everyone involved with club football. So in this kind of situation, you just hope that everything pans out for good. But I know that it's easy to sit here and say that work this out, work this out, work this out, but I'm sure that there are a lot of technicalities and a lot of things that happen behind closed doors, which we don't even know about, negotiations and stuff like that. And every day, I'm opening the phone and hoping for something positive to come out. So I'm very optimistic. I think football is something like I said before, that shouldn't be stopped. If there is something which is going to get stopped, another thing shall emerge. Football is like that, you know. So we are just hoping for something to come up, whatever kind of platform it might be, whatever kind of tournament it might be. I feel like it should come up because not only us, but fans who watch football, people who pay their money to go in the stands and enjoy football, they'll what will they do? What will you do? You won't get to sing my name. So it's a shame. I want you to be there. I want to be there on the pitch as well. So we are just being optimistic, and try to gather information as much as we can. But in our position as players, there's very little that we have control on. We can only be mere spectators, just like you, and hope that people who are in power can work something out, because a lot of people's livelihood is on stake. Yeah, it's a very, like, it's a very tricky and a very gray area when it comes to OCIs and PIOs, because firstly, our constitution, laws don't allow dual citizenship and people who can have a provision like that. So that has always been the case. So no matter how many people might be shouting and crying and saying that OCIs, PIOs, OCIs, PIOs, I feel like until and unless that thing doesn't change, our discussions and our asking questions is not going to make any difference.
Yes, sir.
So it is something that has to happen on a bigger scale. Like it is like changing a law, basically, in our country. And if that happens, man, like I don't mind. If we have people who can come in and help us and have the same desire and same passion to come and play for the country,
Yes,
it's fine. It's good. But I feel like if there are maybe there is no solution to it. Like for example, people cannot have dual citizenships, right? Maybe we can create a provision where someone can give up their country's citizenship, except ours, in a short span of time. In a short span of time, because
yes, sir.
legally it takes around 5 years to do that. So if we can give a special provision to players who really want to give up their passports, come and play for our country, and be here and give their everything, I feel like we should create some kind of provision for them to come and do that, if they're
Yes.
that convincing and that hungry to play for our country. But also at the same time, we also don't want to burn bridges for all the players coming from India as well. We also don't want a situation where players coming from abroad, they are coming here and they are just playing and then leaving, and not having the same kind of fire and hunger, like most of us, for the country. So if there is, I feel like, someone who really wants to do it, I feel like we should give them a good platform and a good uh, provision to do it. It doesn't seem fair for someone who wants to represent the country to wait 5 years and then be able to do it and stuff like that. So if there are people who are ready to do it for our country, give up their citizenships, I feel like we should create a special provision for them to do so in a very short span of time. Like I said, like just like you, I'm also a spectator. So I don't know what kind of plan there is. I heard that there was going to be promotion and relegation for from next season onwards, because we are still a very developing league. The league was still in a very developmental phase. It had only been 10 years. There are leagues who have been there for 50 years, 25 years, 30 years. So I feel like we were in a transitional phase where we wanted to have enough number of teams in the top division and then start the promotion and relegation cycle. It doesn't make sense to have promotion and relegation, I feel like, when you have only 8, 9 teams or 10 teams. I
Yes,
feel like it's something which was in the plans and was going to happen. It was inevitable. So I hope, I mean, whenever things move forward, it happens, yeah,
Yes.
as soon as
Thanks.
possible. If any kid who has an opportunity to go outside and be outside, especially when they are younger, you know, younger, I mean, from let's say 11 years till 22 years, 25, let's say. If you have the opportunity, if players have the opportunity to be outside the country in an environment where they are, playing against good football players, training with good football players,
Yes.
and the facilities are nice, I think, do it. No brainer. It's a no brainer. I, I mean, I can't do it right now because I'm 33. So it's a very difficult phase for me to do it. But
Sir.
I feel like players who are younger, they should 100% do it. There's no doubt about it.